A few years ago, some of our land buying members were asking this question. Is there anywhere I can go on the internet to research which counties are best to send offer campaigns to buy cheap land? My answer sent them on a goose chase for information to several different places online, and those places seemed to always change. And over time, so did my answers. So because of these changes and trying to keep up with the times, I decided to solve the problem. I created a website called CountyWise.com, and let's take a look now at how this site helps you make good land acquisition decisions. You go to CountyWise.com quite simply, and here's a picture of the United States. Each one of the states are clickable. We're going to use Arizona as a simple example to show what CountyWise is, because it's broken down into 13 counties and it's actually pretty simple.
Is this free to everyone?
This is free to everyone and wide open, yeah. You don't have to be a Land Academy or House Academy member. Good job.
Very cool. Thank you.
Click on the state, and you'll see it's pretty simple to scroll through the counties. And then if you actually do click on one of the counties, for example, Pinal County, which is Tucson, it takes you to the actual Pinal County website. What you actually really use the site for, and in our education program, what I say to use the site for is to collect data on each county. And so we decided to keep it all in table format like this, so you can pit the counties against each other. Here's the name of the county. Here's the number of properties in the county, and the population estimation as of 2015, the APN format, an example of an APN, the website itself, the county seat, the year it was organized, the square miles, and the people per square mile. So what's the takeaway on this chart? When you send offer campaigns, as we teach in a lot of our education is specifically for rural vacant land, people per square mile and a low number like this, like 6, is really important. And it's got a low population. So Apache County is a very rural county, which mostly lends itself to buying really inexpensive land. The further you go out, the cheaper it is. That's one way to use this. You can see that Maricopa County here, where Phoenix is 435 people per square mile, which by anybody's gauge is still kind of rural. And we'll take a look at California next and you'll see why. But moving down here to census data, this is a simple graphic for the census data. If you click on it, you can scroll in as far down as you'd like and get all of these demographics. Let's get down to a census tract here. We're going to take Tucson again. Tucson itself, zip code, tracts, and block groups. So if I say tracts and I click on a census tract, this is all the data for this census tract. And if you want to go even down further, to block groups.
It's pretty cool.
So why is this important and why does it matter? It is super cool.
Yeah.
And it's a tremendous amount this is all free.
Yeah.
The census is done by the U.S. government every 10 years. The next one's next year in 2020. In fact, maybe by the time you're seeing this, it might be out.
Right.
There are a lot of people in our group who choose to use census tract information for their mailers, because you could make some pretty accurate assumptions in this census tract about pricing. This is not the scope or the place to teach why census tracts matter, but it's incredibly powerful. And some of the most successful members in the Land Academy and House Academy group utilize census data to do these micro mailers. It's just another resource that I put together all in one place in CountyWise instead of having you to go dig for it. That's Census Tract 101. Moving down from the census tract is the all-important semi-infamous population density map, again, from the census. What we teach in most of our programs for rural vacant land, or all of our programs for rural vacant land, is the further you go out, you can see a common theme here, the cheaper the land probably will end up being. And so the darker the image in general, the less amount of population. So this is a heat map, so to speak, of the data that's up here in this graph. Again, another tool to help decide which county might be better to work in to send rural vacant land mailers. Am I saying you should send mail to Arizona, Jill?
Nope. It works everywhere, doesn't it?
It works in every state and every county. The variable is pricing. I use Arizona constantly because Jill and I started the company in Arizona, and we still do a lot of mail and a lot of work there, both houses and land. I'm not saying that you should go to Arizona and make that the place where you do this. It's just an example.
This is all what we do. We're here to show you what we look for, what triggers you should look for when you go out and hit, I don't know, Illinois.
Yeah.
There you go.
Moving back to the graph, below this is now the semi-infamous tax table. There are a lot of resources that have gone out of business for whatever reason on the internet. And so people are kept on asking us, hey, you talked about this thing in the program, but it doesn't seem to be in business anymore. Where can I go get this tax data? Well, it's here now. It's in CountyWise. What's the point of this? Let's look at Apache County. Between 2013 and 2016, these are the number of back tax properties that are in play in the county, whether liens or deeds. That's a lot. That's an indication to me, this is just my personal preference, that there's a lot of back tax activity there. Where there's a lot of back tax activity, there's usually super cheap land. Does that mean you can sell it for more? No, not necessarily. It's just a great place and a kind of an overview 35,000 foot indicator about where you can buy cheap property. Moving down the county, Cochise, that's a fair number by anybody's gauge. Coconino, it's again, fair number of back tax activity. Gila County, not so much. Graham County, which is a smaller county, it's going down. How do I know where Graham County is? This is Graham County here. That's why we set this up this way. Moving down, Greenlee County, which is even a smaller county, very little back tax activity. Does that mean that it's a terrible place to send mail? No, not at all. This is just a gauge to see, is there back tax activity in that county? This is all set up so that you can make these decisions and do this kind of preliminary research just in minutes. It used to take hours and sometimes days going through different places on the internet. La Paz, which is an even smaller county, very low back tax activity. Maricopa County, where Phoenix is, a ton of back tax activity. But there's also a ton of people that live there and consequently a ton of properties. Take that into consideration. Mojave, quite possibly the back tax center of the universe. Tons and tons of property. Good thing about Mojave County is it's close to, it's within commutable distance to Las Vegas. Navajo, very rural, back tax, and on and on and on. And then in a lot of counties, you have to go to the second page. So you can see Arizona is a pretty popular back tax state. Just for fun, let's take a look at California. And not so much because it's an out west state, the way Arizona is, just because it's so much larger and so much more populous. And so we're going to do a quick run through now that you have the basics on CountyWise, see how it stacks up. Again, same thing with each state. You can scroll through this and see the counties. Same scenario. You can see just an overview of the square mile, people per square mile, and you can see in some of the more populated counties, it's 2,000 people per square mile in Los Angeles, which is one of the most populated counties in the country, if not the most populated, densely populated. Same scenario with I'm not going to go back down on the census tracts here, but if you really are interested in census tract type mailing, I would do your research in places that are very densely populated because the census tracts and census blocks are tiny. I mean, it's shocking the data that you can get right down to a block where you live. Income data, you name it. Here's a famous heat map with very sparsely populated counties here. Am I saying you should mail these counties? No. This is an example. There's a lot of people in our group, too many people, who take this very literally and say, oh, well, Jill and Steve, they just buy property in California and in Arizona, and they only buy it in these dark green counties.
All dark green. That's all I do. I just go for dark green, not necessarily. There's more to it than that.
That's not what we do at all. In fact, it's very timely to bring this up. Jill's doing a mailer right in LA County for $1.5 million property, and she's just killing it. It's one of the best, most successful mailers we've ever done. And it's dark orange.
Exactly.
So pricing is the variable.
Yeah.
Here's the back tax information. I wanted everyone to see this. When you look at these counties compared to Arizona here, They're very, very, very low tax activity counties. This doesn't mean that it's a bad place to send mail. What it means is just to take that into consideration for how you choose to send mail to counties. Most of these counties Jill and I have experience in, and they're not high back tax counties. In a lot of cases, real low back tax counties might be good. So the purpose of this video is not for us to teach you where to send mail. It's to introduce you, if you don't know about it already, and kind of walk you through CountyWise and what it's good for and how we use it. I hope that's clear.
It's perfect.
Okay, it's perfect. Oh, Jill's done today. So that's CountyWise. In a phrase, it's a resource to help you make informed decisions about where to send smart offer campaigns to real estate owners. Why? To buy undervalued property.
That's pretty much what we do.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.